Hello again, everyone, and welcome back once more to the Christian Journey. Indeed, today we'll conclude our discussion, our exploration of this Christian business proposal for the human business. We have covered an enormous amount of ground, and I am truly grateful for the time that you've invested to continue with me in exploring this plan. It is an amazing plan, a very aggressive plan, one that takes this human business someplace it never dreamed of before. But after covering all of this ground, where do we come out in the end? Notice that there's been no discussion of tradition or of practice. There's been very little discussion of morality or doctrine or philosophy. All of these have their place within Christianity, but they do not define Christianity. As we have said over and over again, Christianity is not a religion. It's not external conformance to some proposed set of beliefs for reward and to avoid punishment. No, Christianity is the phenomena of the living God literally coming to live within us, changing us from what we are, from this inconsistent mix of good and evil that's not eternally sustainable, is not universal. And as much as we strive for love and for joy and peace, gives us some of that, but also gives us war and strife and crime, and even when we love, hurts those whom we love. So it is this phenomena that changes us from our selfish good, our inconsistent mix, into the good that God is, to change us from the human nature to the literal divine nature. And that's why we can't define Christianity by doctrine or by tradition or by philosophy or by its morality or by attending a Christian church or being on some membership roll somewhere. Because Christianity is a phenomena that comes from God. It is God who decides where and in whom He will dwell. It is not our choice to make us so. It's our choice to respond. God's not going to force Himself onto us. But it is God who chooses where, in whom He wishes to dwell. So the bottom line is, where Christ dwells, there is Christianity. And where Christ does not dwell, it doesn't matter whether we call ourselves a Christian, whether we adhere to Christian teaching or philosophy, whether we attend a Christian church, it doesn't matter. Christians are where Christ is. And then Christ will lead them to do the things that Christians do. But it is Christ in us that makes us a Christian. And then it changes everything that we do. Remember, it's not so much in the what as in the why. It transforms everything. It changes us from this insanity that we had to a sane world of thinking. It turns our world completely upside down. Or perhaps we should say it turns it back right side up. Because of this phenomenon, Christians are capable of something they could not be otherwise. They are capable of thinking and feeling and acting and being like God. To have the relationship with God that God has had within Himself for all eternity. And when we come to that point, it brings us to the most extraordinary freedom. Freedom from our slavery to self. Freedom from the cause of all our human ills. It allows us to transcend both our evil and our inadequate good, which in all our history has never succeeded in vanquishing our evil. It overcomes all these shortcomings because both of them are really the same departure from the absolute good of God. Just we go further over here and we're evil, and we go quite not so far, and maybe it's our good. But both of them are departures from that absolute good. So we come to see that we are the problem. That we, collectively and individually, are the cause of all of the ills in our individual lives and in the world at large. And what the Christian business plan offers us is the solution to that problem. To truly end the evil and the suffering that we see in our world, we must change what we are. We must change from doing business as normal to a new way of doing business, a way that God makes possible through the Christian journey, through His joining to us and making us something new. Even hearkening back to that analogy we had with the Apostle Paul of human reproduction creating something new. It is that literal and that profound and that real that just as we have an egg and we have sperm and they come together, and once they come together it is a new creation. It's not what either was before. The egg is a different DNA. It's a different being. It's no longer a cell of its mother. It is a new life. And we're told this quite literally in the Scriptures. If we go to 1 Peter, it's not just Paul who makes this analogy. If we go to 1 Peter and chapter 1, verse 23, we'll see that Peter uses these words literally. That he tells us in 1 Peter 1 and verse 23, "For you have been born again, not of perishable seed, but of imperishable, through the living and enduring Word of God." Now this word seed is a word, a polite word for sperm. You know, the Bible speaks of a man's seed. And so literally what Peter is telling us here is that we have been born again. This time it's not the physical coming together, but it is a new spiritual creation. And the spiritual, again, is as real, more real than the physical. And so we have been born again by the coming of a divine seed, of a divine sperm, so to speak. And again, we become something we were not before. We become something completely new. We have been changed. We're not the same. And we could not do that on our own. Were it not for God to beget us here, to have us born again with this new seed, we would not be this new life. It is a miracle. It is a miracle greater than any other. Because again, to end these sufferings, to end these ills, to change our business as normal as it has been for all our history, we must change our very nature. And we can change our habits. We can change some of the things that we can do. We can try to make these improvements, and we can make some improvements, but we cannot change the nature of what we are. That is the miracle of Christianity, that transformation that is the Christian journey. So,